Welcome to Getting Home Sourced with G. Your one-stop shop for all things real estate. Gianno is your go-to guy with over 25 years of experience in the game, serving up the insider scoop on buying, selling, and investing in two of the hottest markets, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Cabo, Mexico. Whether you're looking to score the perfect home, seal the deal on a sale, or dive into the world of international investments, G's got the tips, tricks, and swagger to make it happen. Remember, in Nevada, the smart choice is the right choice. And when it comes to Cabo, you better go oceanside with Cabo G. If you were looking for a quiet, tranquil show about real estate, this ain't it. Gianno has this thing called passion. Let's unleash the beast. This is Welcome to Getting Home Sourced. And now your host, Gianno.
Hey, what do you say? We got another rockin' show here at Getting Home Sourced with G. Folks, I love you all. Thank you so much. I hope you had a great birthday last week, as now we're kicking off an extra celebration here today, because in today's show, folks, we are calling the show G's Leads. Why do you say that? Because in this show, I'm going to be leading the consumer to let them know how we are contacting you as both the buyer and seller. And on the second half of the show, we're going to cover leading you to making the best decisions possible, what the market's going to be looking like, what's going to be happening here in real estate in the U.S. and abroad. So upon further ado, of course, I like to start out the show by saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are listening around the world. Thank you so much. And of course, for my first timers, my newbies, thank you so much for tuning in, whoever referred you or just listening in. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter, as I always start out the show, please go on to my website, www.vegashomesource.com. Click on the newsletters section, type in, get logged in, get all the monthly information that I present to you, and also my toll-free number for my internationals, 888-528-2810. And of course, my domestic listeners, you have 702, and this number is the same, right? And then again, for my repeat offenders, you guys are the best. I told you, you are what drives the show. So
that's the whole story.
Upon further ado, again, I want to start out by saying thank you so much. And this show is really passionate about, because of the fact I am really super excited to share with you really what's going on, like the real inside scoop of real estate nationwide. Because right now, I'm sure most people, consumers, now we're talking about buyers and sellers, that you're getting contacted by realtors, even myself, for my clients or for future clients or what have you. You're getting contacted because it's leads. And this is the part of the show where I put a plot twist in it, and I say leads with two different meaning. I'm leading you into what's happening, but I'm also giving you the lead information as to how we track down as realtors the consumer, the buyer, and the seller. So that's kind of the play of the show right now, is lead.
I don't have time to say this gently, so I'll be very direct.
Or leads. So with that being the case, I just want to start out by saying that right now, as we do lead into August and going into September, there's going to be a lot of changes, folks, happening in the real estate market. And I think it's really important to address the fact that the housing market is showing a slowdown. Obviously, we see that a lot of inventory in the market throughout the country. We're seeing buyers sitting on the sidelines. Again, as I kind of talk about before in the past, about how they think the market's going to crash and fall off and what have you. Crash in the sense that seller defaults are going up. And people that are listening to the show, if you're a seller, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But for the buyers as well. Again, I talked about before that a lot of buyers that are going into the market looking to buy homes really between that 350, 900 range. A lot of fallouts or cancellations, or they can't get qualified. And this is really an alarming rate because interest rates are a big play right now. Economy, jobs, and what have you, the labor market. There's a lot of swirling things in this recipe of real estate, which quite frankly, I'm going to be honest with you here because it's real deal street talk. It will get worse before it gets better. I'm not sure how many people have heard that line, but I'm telling you factually and truthfully, this is what's coming down the road. Hence the reason for the show as leads. What direction are we going into? How are we leading into the fall and how are we leading into the winter? Well, as a realtor, I always say, what's going on? Like, this is what we're all asking ourselves. What is going on right now? Well, since a lot is happening, and again, as I kind of talk about the whispering at the water cooler, they think it's going to be 2008 again, folks. And I mean, look, 2008 was a market that I don't think we're going to see again. It feels like 2008. You know, people presume it's going to be 2008, but there's a twist here because in 2008, if you notice that people were just dumping their homes, you go buy another one, let the other house go into foreclosure or short sale or whatever, and you're already safe, or other people just lost it all together. But I do believe the people that have that 350 to 900 price point and you bought back in 2024, end of 23, first quarter 25, this is the problem. These are the people now that are hitting the 90 plus late and now the 120 plus late. And I just talked about before, folks, I just got my list today and I already got 250 seller defaults in my territory of Las Vegas. And I haven't even reached out to these people yet. But hence, this is what I talk about with leads. This is why now as realtors nationwide, and especially I'm talking on behalf of myself, we have the data, we have the information where I send out postcards, I send out emails, I call you, and that's my lead situation. Now, where am I getting this data from, right? So I'm getting the data from the title companies and or attorneys that I may be working with here in Las Vegas, using that as an example. And because we're privileged, we have the right to get information. And as realtors nationwide, if you are in a title state, you get the information from the title company, right? But if you're in an attorney state, you're getting the information from either an escrow company and or an attorney that handles real estate that represents basically buyers and sellers, right? So, and you get the data. That is what's important. And that's why when I talk about, no pun intended, by leads and leading into getting the consumer information, because folks, let's face it, in the US or United States, however you want to call it, I'll just say US for now, is that there is no such thing as privacy because everybody's information is out there for the taking. It's out there, whether it's on the internet, especially for sellers and buyers that I keep saying, you go onto these sites, these marketing company sites like Zillow, OfferPad, Opendoor, Redfin, Realtor.com, you are voluntarily giving up your privacy and information. This is why you get phone calls. This is why you get postcards. This is why you're getting contacted. So, look, I've been cursed at and I've been hung up on. It's part of the business. I've been doing this now, 26 plus years I've been talking about. Look at my resume. It's on my website. It gives you all my information, right? So I'm used to that, but I feel bad because people are feeling the pain. They're feeling the stress on both sides, right? It's the buyer side and it's the seller side. I look at it this way. You know the analogy you always heard before about the struggle, right? You have a struggle where the unstoppable force meets the immovable object. This is buyer and seller right now. This is real estate. This is what is happening. And now you have a standoff. Who's going to cave first? And right now, folks, look, as sellers, I'm telling you, the market right now dictates it is a buyer slash hostage crisis situation, negotiation process now with the seller, and sellers are basically lowering their price again between that 350 and 900,000 price point, because again, it doesn't affect the millionaires and the luxury market because that's basically cash. You work out your deal, that's fine. But as far as people that have mortgages, people that have to have a mortgage when they're buying a property, and people that actually have a mortgage that they're selling, this is what we're talking about with the high interest rates that's going on. And now you have that fight going back and forth. And it's really, look, it shouldn't be contested hotly, as I say, but because there is a lot of emotion, it gets heated, it's contested, and then now you're dealing with agents that kind of cop attitudes. And there's no need for that, right? We have to be calm. I know it's difficult, but we have to be calm in moving forward in order to help the clients, because my responsibility and my job, as I always talk about in the show, you have to take care of the client first. Stop putting personal preferences. As a listing agent, I'm not going to say dictate terms to the buyer's agent or the buyer and saying, this is what it is, this is what it has to be. I don't own the home. All I basically tell people is, hey, write it down on a piece of paper, write it down on the contract, addendum, what have you, counter, and I'll present it, because I'm not going to state that I'm acting like the seller, which most listing agents do. Let's be honest, you guys out there acting like it's your home and you want to be big shots. You shouldn't be doing that. All you got to do is move forward, act like, hey, look, my job is just I present all the facts, and then after that, you decide what you want to do. But until that time frame, again, let's not get into heated battles. There's no need for it. I mean, this is what I see happening as well, because now buyers agents are frustrated, listing agents are frustrated. You take a great listing, it's a beautiful property. Why is it not selling? Well, we're going to answer that question when we return after these commercial messages.
Oh, it's all right. I'm sure that we can handle this situation maturely, just like the responsible adults that we are. Isn't that right, Mr. Poopy Pants?
Is money tight? Don't think you can afford a home? Or maybe you have some credit problems. These are common issues that the team at Vegas Home Source deals with every day. We are in the business of helping people like you. Don't let your everyday problems hold you back from getting that dream home. You owe it to yourself to reach out to us today and let us show you what we can do for you. Visit us online at vegashomesource.com. Remember, the smart choice is the right choice when you shop with Vegas Home Source. So reach out to us today.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Hey, what do you say? What do you say? Thank you so much on the back half of the show of Getting Home Source with G. And like I said, it's a lead show. We lead into things, right? And this is why I use a play on words, because I think it's important that when we're making decisions, you have to be passionate, think it through. Sometimes rationale outweighs emotion, or emotion outweighs rationale. And this is why it's important to always talk to a professional. Now, for a perfect example, right now, just to show you what numbers are going for in my local market. So in Las Vegas, we have I think about 13,000 plus homes that are actively on the market right now. Again, folks, May 1st, 2024, we were at just under 2,900, okay? So now fast forward, you got 2,000% increase. Okay, why is that happening? Well, we just talked about it before. We have, labor situations where people are getting laid off from work. We have the income, the economy. We have high interest rates. We have living beyond our means. Whatever the meatball recipe is, this is what's going on, right? So that takes care of that section. Now, 13,000 plus homes on the market. Now, guess how many have sold in 6 months? Because our solds on the MLS, at least on my website here in Las Vegas, we go back only 6 months. Past 6 months, we do what's called history, because really after 6 months, it doesn't really become a comp or a comparable anymore. And then you have to go into the history section. But in the solds alone within the last 6 months, 15,300 homes have sold. And if you break that down per month, it's exactly 2,550 homes a month for 6 months. Our local average here in Las Vegas is under 4,000. So folks, I mean, we're talking 1,500 extra homes a month that are not selling, right? So we're below the healthy market. And with the luxury market, you're talking about out of that 15,300 homes, I should say, right? 945 were basically $1 million and up, let's just say, for argument's sake. So it's $1 million and up luxury, 945, and the rest is under $1 million. So this is why you're seeing, and why is that number high for the bottom of the well, let's just say, again, below $1 million. I want to say a bottom, under $1 million, but for lack of a better word, we put it that way. The point is the iBuyer and these hedge funds and these marketing companies are coming in, lowballing the seller, and then those properties are gone, right?
I don't have time to say
here,
this gently,
folks,
so I'll be
again,
very
as a
direct.
seller, I can only emphasize and tell you that as a realtor, you're going to save yourself more in fees and payments and what have you, rather than going to an iBuyer. I get it. You might think it's more convenient, whatever, but you're giving up so much more money by dealing with these iBuyers to cash you out. You think it's going to be a rainy day, and it becomes a thunderstorm when you realize that, gosh, I could have gotten more money if I would have worked with a realtor. Yeah, it might take a little bit longer, but at least you have the opportunity to move forward, and you're going to get at least capture the most that you can, because this is the problem that's happening right now with sellers. Your equity is shrinking, markets around the country, properties are selling below ask, maybe even below appraisal, and there goes your equity. And then on top of that, you're going to get an iBuyer that's going to come in there and basically take 20% off of your value. You're not going to get that anywhere near with the regular traditional real estate sale with two realtors, a listing agent and a buyer's agent. So again, folks, it's important to understand, don't throw away the postcards, don't throw away the flyers, don't delete the emails, and certainly don't hang up on phone calls when you have professionals like myself reaching out to the masses, because that's our job. Our job is we're getting leads from title companies. At least I get leads from title companies. Like I told you guys, I don't participate in the marketing through Zillow, OfferPad, Open Door, and all that kind of stuff. I don't deal with them. And I know a lot of agents that have signed up and paid a lot of money, thousands of dollars, for those quote-unquote lead programs that the quote-unquote consumer, buyer and seller, are putting into the internet, really. And you're giving yourself up, and your data is being sold. Now us as realtor professionals, we're calling you up, and then you're getting angry, like, why are you calling me? So it's really important, folks, as a consumer, please, please, please. These are realtor activities. This is what I do for a living, and as well as a lot of other people that that you're working with. It's our job to call for postcards and emails and flyers and doing whatever we can to market ourselves, because when you have a voice and you are well known in your city or industry, you want to work with a realtor that's going to be able to sell your home professionally, but more important, quickly, right? And this is why I call it real estate activity. So no need to be hostile. I know it's an emotional situation. I know there's a lot of sellers right now that are uptight. They're trying to figure it out. Look, folks, there's a lot of people here. The default numbers with sellers are increasing. I see it. I see the data. It's happening nationwide. Buyers are sitting around waiting. So all I could tell you in that aspect is that, down the road, again, you're going to have a high activity rate, folks, for the consumer now that I'm talking to. You're going to have a high activity rate of more and more realtors sending you mail, sending you email, phone calls, and what have you, because not only do they want to earn your business, but they also want to inform you of what's coming down the road, because economically, we still have uncertainty, right? I don't believe in a 2008, part two. I do believe there's going to be a reset. I do also believe that there's going to be a bailout. I do believe that President Trump here will be setting up funding for people to jumpstart the economy in 2026. I mean, if you look at the data and you look at where everything's going, it's almost a duplicate system of what happened back in 2020, going into 2021, when everything kind of stopped and then we had to reboot, right? So now we're going into that reboot situation. So people that are feeling the crunch, they have the financial stress. I don't know if people are investing in crypto, if you're making money or losing money or what have you, but at the end of the day, people that are not riding high on stocks or whatever investments that you have, people are basically living, paycheck to paycheck, and it's a day-by-day situation. So what is the best situation for you, both as a buyer and a seller? That's why you have to go through the process. You have to be led through the process. And again, that's my play on words, because you need to deal with professionals that are going to be able to help you out to make the best financial first decision, second, educated decision, because at the end of the day, you're buying and you're selling. And as I like to put in the show for my quote unquote seller beware clause, it's important to understand that with sellers defaulting, it's going to hurt your credit down the road, because again, we get the information, folks. So sellers that are out there, if you're pinched right now, we get the data. We know exactly when you bought the house, how much you bought the house for, how you're holding title. We get your email, we get your telephone number. That's how we get a hold of you. That's how I call people, quite honestly, because that's how I get the info. I call up my title company. It's public record. I get that information from my title company. That is my lead from the title company to you as the consumer. In this case, we're talking about the seller. Same thing with buyers, folks. I mean, buyers, when you're putting your information out there on the internet, you will be getting called. And that's why a lot of times your data is being shopped. We talked about this before on past shows, like maybe 10 different realtors on a speed to lead, as we call it, because some real estate platforms, as I say, are going to go sell your information to 10 different realtors, and the first one to get a hold of you that you answer the phone and want to talk to wins, right? So that, folks, is really that aspect of leads for realtors like myself that are out there. And you have to make sure that, folks, don't just feel free and voluntarily put your information out there, because you're going to get hammered on with phone calls and what have you, right? So that's why what I do is with my website, and I'm going to keep preaching this until my face turns red because I get passionate about this. I always like to have the consumer, you come to me when you're ready. I've always talked about that. I'm passive in that way. Yes, I'm going to call up sellers because I want them to know what's going on in their market. I want them to know what's going on in their subdivision or neighborhood or section of town they're living in. Tell them what's coming down the road. That's why I put my newsletter together. And yes, I do get my message out to people that are, luxury buyers. I also get my message out to people that are not luxury buyers. I also get my message out to sellers that are going to be hitting that 90 plus 120 day plus mark, where again, folks, as I mentioned before, 120 days in the US, that's when a bank can start to foreclose on you and start the process. And in the old days, I used to work the REO systems with banks. They give you an REO account, which is basically real estate owned by the bank. It goes through the court process. It goes through the courthouse steps. It doesn't sell. It comes back. The bank takes it, gives it to a realtor. Here's the portfolio. Go fix up the property or sell it as is. And that's an REO account. We used to have that. No more. All the hedge funds are buying them right now. So it's important to understand, folks, if you're a seller and you're on the fence and you're trying to figure things out, if you can't talk to a realtor first, definitely talk to your attorney, your accountant, your financial planner. Get professional advice. Most of the times with the realtor, it's always going to be free. I can guarantee you that. I don't charge anybody to talk to them, right? But an attorney might, your accountant might, financial planner maybe not. But at the end of the day, really, folks, we're leading into a path, and we're going down a path here. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not pretty, and it's going to get ugly before it gets better. You're going to hear that term a lot in the next 4 months, going right up to the end of the year. But I think with the bailout coming, and again, with the federal government here in the United States, I do believe the forecast is they're going to drop it down to 1%. So what winds up happening is that if we're at 4.5% right now on the interest rate, not the mortgage rate, we're not talking about mortgage rate, we're talking about the Fed interest rate for the country, that drops down. Now we're at 3.5%, maybe 3.75%, and that they think is going to solve problems. I don't know. I think what's going to happen here is going to be the bailout. So that's another situation. Now, getting on to the second half of the show, really on the backside, I talk about hedge funds and I look at them as stalkers. They're stalkers, they're predators, they're going after consumers like they're going to eat them. It's like a shark, blood in the water. They're all coming after you, right? So reaching out to the consumer, this is like the heartfelt message. It's like, I know things are a little bit rough. I've spoken to a lot of my clients here in Las Vegas and in Arizona. Cabo doesn't have this problem because Cabo's a cash market. That's why a lot of people from around the world, internationals especially, they have the cash. They don't want to deal with the nonsense that's going on here in the U.S. right now. So they take their money and they go to Cabo. They get a cash property and they're happy, right? But for those that want to be here, and there are foreign internationals that buy in the United States too, folks. I mean, obviously the major cities, Miami, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, those cities are all going to always be entertaining and interesting because those are the populous cities and those are the quote unquote money cities in the country, right? So if you have cash, you're in first position, you got the deal, right? And a lot of people are waiting for the deal. When is that deal going to happen? Well, I can tell you what the deal is. The deal is that you're going to get more seller defaults. The deal is that you have buyers sitting around waiting. The deal is that frustration setting in. And the main deal is that a lot of people are just having their hands folded and just waiting to see what the collapse is going to be. Or maybe you're thinking, like what I hear again from the water cooler, the whispers, like, hey, we're going to get free money, so let's just wait and hope that the money comes in. We'll take that money and go ahead, and then we save ourselves. Yeah, let's hope that that happens. However, I don't know. I wouldn't be too, heads up and excited about that. We don't know what kind of money release there's going to be. We don't know how that's going to be structured. We talk about how on the internet right now here, especially in the U.S., they're talking about these no income and no documentation type quote unquote loans that are coming. So we have to stay tuned for that. And of course, the minute that I get that information, I'm going to share that with everybody because a lot of people, you can't just run around and start opening up corporations. I think that that's going to solve the problem. So hopefully people already have corporations set up. But if you don't, folks, I would advise you, if you have the time and you have the money, start creating an LLC for yourself. I think that's the best bet. And good things are going to happen on that. And I'll talk more about that in a future show. But again, in closing, I just think it's now who's going to lead you down the right path, right? A reset's going to come. We all feel it. Let's not kid ourselves. The political climate's dictating this. This is a direction. There's a master plan that's getting, formulated right now. I believe help's on the way. I really, really, truly do. This is not going to happen forever. I've been through 2 cycles already where this has been this up and down roller coaster. We're in the down roller coaster right now. And look, folks, everybody's hurting. Most realtors are hurting nationwide. Consumers are hurting nationwide. And we all have to work together. And really, it's unity. So don't get aggravated, sellers, when you're getting a phone call, especially with me. So I have to put myself out there, of course. Don't get aggravated when I call you here in Las Vegas as a seller. Don't get, angry, throwing out my postcards or flyers or just in general hanging up on me and hanging up on other realtors. Get your data. Whatever market that you're in, your homework assignment right now, if you haven't done it already, is find out through a real estate professional what your house is worth and also what is the market condition. Ask questions. Most people don't ask questions. They don't want to be bothered. They put the blanket over their head and they're just hoping that the next day comes. Folks, please, please, please don't do that. Again, the next 4 months here is going to be a roller coaster. We know this is happening. We don't know what we are on the roller coaster right now. Are we going through the down? Are we going through the corkscrew? Are we doing a loop or are we clear sailing and we're just going to speed up, right? It's roller coaster time. So figure out where you are on the ride. Reach out to people and figure out what side of the fence that you're on, and everything's going to reveal itself. And this is what it's all about. It will reveal itself in time. But on that note, folks, I want to say thank you so much. I'm very fired up about the show today. As you can tell, I'm passionate because I know what's happening. And on my side, as I reach out to people, just know I mean, again, folks, the data's there. Look at the properties that are on the market. Look at your market, whatever city that you're in. If we have 13,000 plus homes in Las Vegas right now, folks, what does that tell you? Sellers, what does that tell you? You got to start cutting deals. It hurts. I know it's a butt sore situation, but you're going to have to take a little bit of a hit on selling your property, unless, again, you're in that $1 million category, then that's a different ballgame. We're not talking about the luxury. We're talking about people that have mortgages, sellers that have mortgages, and buyers that are going to get a loan. We have to work it out, folks. It's unity, and it's leading you down the right path. So, again, love you all. Thank you all. God bless. Stick with it, folks. Stay tuned. I always give you the updated information when it comes in, and I'll never let you down. Take care, and God bless.
That's the whole story there, Rex. Everything we know.
You have just listened to Getting Home Sourced with your radio host, Gianno Buonaguro. This podcast is a registered trademark and may not be reproduced without the express written consent of VegasHomeSource.com. For additional information about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, call or text Gianno toll-free at 888-528-2810 or visit his website at VegasHomeSource.com. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.